Hello everyone. Welcome back to our sprint demo. This is sprint 5 demo. So we have quite a few updates since where we left off in last demo. So firstly, we now hosted our web application in CloudFront. It's hosted on S3 through static website hosting. We are serving it through CloudFront now. And in our last demo, we were fetching location from the student dashboard. And what we realized when we were testing the application was, so we were facing this geolocation position error. So the API was not allowing us to store the coordinates or send the coordinates from front end to the DB if we're using HTTP protocol. Earlier, when we were hosting on S3 bucket, it was HTTP. Now, after we started serving content from CloudFront distribution, we have enabled HTTPS protocol as well. So all the demo you see now will now be serving from HTTP CloudFront domain. So apart from that, I worked on admin dashboard functionality. So I worked on our two user stories, which need us to create the class in admin dashboard and then add faculty members and student members to that particular class. So if I click on an existing class here, what we now have is different drop downs here. First drop down is for displaying all the existing student users. And likewise, we have a drop down to display all the existing faculty users. And I can add student here and it will populate the list of current students in the group. So Shishir is the existing student. I'm now adding myself. The name is Ram M. If I click on add student, you can see this alert which says student added successfully, and it will populate here. And essentially, this is just CRUD functionality. So I've defined a few getters and setters in JavaScript. So I have this function to populate the student dropdown, which we just saw here. It hits an API in the backend, which in turn triggers a Lambda function to fetch all the existing users from our DynamoDB. And similarly, I have another function to populate current students list, which is what enabling this happen here. Basically, when I add a student, that student is reflecting here. And additionally, I have remove functionality as well. What remove does is it removes the user and then removes the user from backend as well at the database level. So I can click on remove button and this user will be gone from the list. So our DynamoDB for storing the user details within a specific trip is like this. Each class has a specific ID, and then you have the faculty. And faculty list is another column. We created this just in case if a trip has multiple faculty, it goes to the list. And we have last active column for the group, and then number of members. So number of members get incremented. If I add a new student here, right now you can see it's only one student and one member. If I add a new student, that gets incremented here automatically. So we have the same functionality for faculty as well. So the code you see here for students, it's all pretty much reusable for faculty. I just had to replace student fields with faculty fields. Same way in the backend also, just had to replace student columns with faculty columns. And then I'm storing list of faculty in a hash map here, and then list of students also in a hash map. That way I don't have, so when I store the users in a hash map, I don't have to handle duplicate user addition explicitly because hash map is always a unique key value pair. So I can show that here. I can add the same user again. It says that, but I don't have a duplicate user here in my database because it's a hash map. Yeah. So that's about it. These are the user stories I worked on from admin dashboard perspective for this sprint. So with that said, I think I'll now hand it over to my team.
I've added a new feature to our website's dashboard that displays our current location on a map and shows corresponding address. Yeah, this way. For the map, I used leaflet.js, which is a tool for adding interactive maps to the websites. It's to show our current location. I used the navigator.geolocation service available in the web browser. The service asks for your permissions to access your location and then provide your geographical coordinates like latitude and longitude. Once I have the coordinates, I use reverse geocoding to turn them into the readable address. This is done through the OpenStreetMaps reverse geocoding service, which takes the coordinates and returns a detailed address such as your street name or a city. This address is then displayed next to the map on the dashboard. You can update your location at any time by clicking a button. This refreshes both the map and the address shown using the latest location data your browser provides. There's also a link that opens your current location in Google Maps, offering a detailed view and navigation options if needed. Um, I I want to integrate this feature with the backend of our website by the next sprint. So for right now, we just created this model. So we are planning to integrate with the backend by the next week, if possible.
So as Kaushik showed, we weren't able to integrate the map function into the current which code is in production. So if we click get current location now, what it does is it takes the location coordinates and also as well as the address. We also get a link below here in Google Maps. So what is the code actually doing is there's a free API called GeoAPI, which takes in the latitude and longitude of our current location and reverse geocodes it, and then gives us the actual address of the person where he is. So if we go and check in the DynamoDB table, now we have the latitude, longitude, the address of the person, the timestamp, the maps link, the name, and also the exact time. And this time is in GMT. So previously, when we were showing the function, we only had the timestamp and the latitude and longitude. But now we are able to extract the link, the name, and as well as the actual time and date of that particular location. So this is being done by a Lambda function here. So this is the Lambda function. These are all the attributes that or the parameters that we are taking in. And these are the ones that are being stored in the DynamoDB. Yeah, that's it from my side.
So from my end, I also worked on the same student dashboard, but I worked on the user story 4, which which was dealing with the SOS button. So I made this button. This will use the same geolocation API which Shashir showed in the previous conversation. So this uses the same functionality, and this will populate the locations table in the DynamoDB with the user's current location, which is the updated coordinates. And once the signal is sent, and once the location is updated in the table, this alert is displayed. And once this is closed, the user will again have another prompt where he can enter the situation he is in, which is basically a text box. And for now, this functionality has not been done in the backend yet. So if we just skip this, it will just say emergency signal sent successfully. And when we try to describe anything and submit, it says emergency signal was sent, but we could not submit the additional details. We still working on that. And apart from this, we updated this from a text box to a checklist. These are just hard-coded temporary values, but late in the later part, these will be uh, developed. Here, the student will be able to select the other students in the same class, like Ram has shown previously. And show the backend part of this. since I clicked the SOS button previously, the location will come and fall directly into the student locations table. These are the entries of the 2 times that I clicked the SOS button. And that's it from my end for this week.
So there's not much I've worked on last week. I've specifically worked for this faculty dashboard. Again, I've experimented a little bit on this create check-in button. After our previous meeting, we have decided on not complicating this functionality a lot. So we have just made it like an announcement kind of feature. Now, when I click on create check-in, it just asks the faculty member to enter whatever they want. Again, then this is just the front end part. We have to integrate it with the back end and do the stuff to display this announcement back onto the student dashboard. So now when I click on post, it just exits out of this. Again, I'll add maybe some successful message or some pop-up that opens up saying the announcement has been posted. And I'm still working with Shashir about this table that displays all the student names and their respective locations, since they have already got the location feature working right now, which is not completely done yet again. And we'll just get that from the backend and we'll just post it in the table here. Yeah, that is it from my end.
Yeah. So I continued my work on the technical documentation, and I also started documentation on user documentation and admin documentation. So I'm making sure that each and every step is clear and easy to follow for the users and the admin. Yeah, that's it from my side.